why should you care? And how does this relate to the job that you have, as the employer? At the beginning, students used to take us literally when we said, introduce yourself in the first paragraph, but we didn't actually need to do it literally like this, my name is, because your name is at the top, your name will be at the bottom. So you can just say, I'm a first-year student at Golden Gate, I'm seeking a summer internship or a fall internship, something very simple at the beginning. Any other feedback about this one?
Different firm name at the bottom.
Thank you. Yes, so you'll notice, actually we'll do this because it doesn't look good, but what's the name of the firm they're writing to? Johnson & Smith. Bottom of the letter? Right. This happens all the time. And so especially if you're doing a job fair and there are 15 employers, you're writing, you're copying and pasting, and we've seen this happen. Student writes, I'm interested in criminal law, I don't know which side, so they apply to both the DA and the public defender, but they don't switch this, and so they send the letter to the DA, but the body says I want to work for the public defender. Well, it's not good. So they will notice, especially if it's their competitor down here. So let me give you a kind of a framework for your letters, and then I'll show you a letter that I think gets it, if not perfect, much closer than these. So we recommend a 4-paragraph format. And the first paragraph tends to be short. It's very, transactional. I'm a 1 out of Golden Gate, here's what I'm looking for. You can mention how you learned about the position, but you don't have to. So if you're applying through the PIPS Day job fair, you don't have to say, I learned about you through the PIPS Day job fair, because they know that's how they got your application. But maybe if Professor so-and-so suggested I write to you, that might matter, because maybe Professor so-and-so is known to the person at this organization. So again, it's an opportunity to introduce it, especially if it's not that obvious. If you are planning to volunteer, if you come with funding, that might be something worth mentioning in this first paragraph as well. So name dropping, all that goes right here. Things that kind of quickly catch their attention to show that you might be a very viable candidate. And then we move on to the second paragraph, and I recommend that the second and third paragraphs are really the meat of the letter. So the second paragraph's job is to answer the question, why are you seeking this job? Right? You want to talk to the employer and get them interested. You want to make sure they know it was not a mistake that you wrote to them. So this should really highlight, your enthusiasm for this particular position, or the nature of the work that they do, the practice area, the clientele. I mean, anything that you can draw a connection to about this organization, this is where you would do it. If you studied something at college that relates to the work that they do here, you might mention that, or as you progress through law school and build expertise, this might be the place to draw those connections. If you're applying for positions outside of the Bay Area, so let's say that Corey from before was applying for summer jobs in Arkansas, she might mention here, I'm from Arkansas, I plan to return there after law school, and I'm eager to work with you. So otherwise it might seem weird, why is the student from the Bay Area applying for a position in this other community? The third paragraph is more about your skills, and it really answers the question, why are you a good candidate? I know you've got, it's like airplanes, you've got lots of airlines to choose from. We're glad you chose us. You have lots of law students to choose from. Why should you choose me? And so this is where you want to hone in on maybe 2 or 3 skills that you think are most persuasive for this employer. So if you know it's a research and writing job, you want to highlight your research and writing skills. Or if you know this is you're interviewing clients all summer, you might want to talk more about your interpersonal skills. And you focus the paragraph around that skill set. This is where the evidence that I talked about at the beginning and the anecdotes, you might use that here. So you might have a topic sentence that says, through my academic and professional experiences, I've developed strengths in research and analysis that would enable me to serve your organization. For example, in college, I blah, 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 right? And that's a little piece of evidence for one of those skills. In addition, you might offer another piece of evidence. Makes your letter sound more interesting because now there's something factual that they can remember you by, and it's giving evidence. And so you want to organize this paragraph around the skills. And then the closing paragraph is quick, just, I look forward to, thank you for your consideration, I look forward to hearing from you. If you're applying to a job fair, a job listing, something where the employer has solicited your application, it's more appropriate for them to follow up with you. If you just found a law firm out of the blue, you found them on the web, you read an article about them, something, and you are just taking a chance of writing to them, it might be more appropriate for you to follow up with them, since they didn't invite you to apply. So let me show you what this looks like when it's all put together. And so you see the 4 paragraphs, and just get a sense of the flow and how it all fits together. So do you see here, like all the random facts that were in the prior version? Why are they telling me this? Here you can actually see, oh, now we understand. It's linking those facts either to interest in the job or skills for the job. Any other observations about this one compared to the others? Would you be, this one talked about to the interest. Remember they said we want someone who wants to do employment law or who has a sense of humor, wants to work in a small firm. So this letter addresses a lot of those issues. The other ones didn't. So let me give you just some final cover letter tips before we quickly move to the other documents that I want to make sure you have some background on. So I'm happy to sit down with any of you and have a heart-to-heart when you say, I have no idea why I'm here, I have no idea what I want to do, or I don't think I'm very good at this or very good at that, but your cover letter is not the place to confess all of those anxieties, okay? This should be written from a position of strength. So I don't want to see any sentences that start with although I don't have the credentials you're seeking, blah, blah, blah. We don't want all those sentences. You do want to use topic sentence very strategically. A lot of employers skim, so they'll read that first sentence of each paragraph. I often use that as an outline. And you want to ask yourself, is every sentence in this paragraph supporting that concept in the topic sentence? If not, you need to reorganize your letter. So really use that because we talked about being concise, and that's really a way to keep it nice and tight and organized. Unlike your resume, you can use lots of different styles for your sentences here, although you want to keep the active voice and not passive voice, and just make sure it sounds fresh. And so often a student might use paragraphs 1, 3, and 4 over and over again, and maybe just manipulate paragraph 2, which is the one that speaks directly to the employer. So they don't need to know you're sharing some of this information with lots of organizations, as long as you're writing to them specifically in that second paragraph. Any other cover letter questions? Okay. Yes?
If you make your own contacts, and if you know somebody, get your foot in the door type thing, do you want to tailor it specifically to them so they can disseminate it?
Right, so if you know someone, you might talk about what their priorities are, or you write the letter to dear so-and-so. You can share this letter with colleagues, but if those strategies, I almost rather you find out who to share it with, and you write the letter. Joe Shimon suggested I contact you, so that you still control the message of your letter. But otherwise, we could talk about those strategies. But the more targeted you can be, the better. So I do want to just mention a couple other documents, and we do have handouts for all of these. So if you log on to LCS Online, you'll find our handouts. Many employers will want a list of references. They don't typically want letters anymore. So you just need to provide 3 to 5 professional references or academic references, but these should not be personal references. Employers want to know what you're like on the job, and can you handle legal issues, and do you show up for work and get the job